off, the New York Times had a headline that said, "Debate aside, there's a sharp drop in drone strikes." And at first I saw that, I kind of laughed, and I thought, well, there's something more dispiriting than what they're trying to do. Than what they're trying to pull off is to say, yes, there is a drop in the drone strikes, but it's not because people are talking. Don't think that American people, people of Pakistan, people of Yemen, people of Great Britain are speaking out and acting, have any effect on this. It just happens to be a debate, it happens to be the drone strikes are dropping sharply. No, the drone strikes, there's a sharp drop because of the debate. We have a lot more to do. This debate has only started. And we have a great obligation to that, especially here in Des Moines, where it's going to be happening. The war crimes are not going to be committed by our neighbors far away. They're going to be committed from places a couple miles from here every day. And we have the debate is going on. It's saving lives. It is something that our lives and our soul as a country depend greatly on. So I'm glad that you're all here. I'm glad to be here with the Walkers. And thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Strong stuff. Now I can't see what key this song is in. I'll figure it out. We learn by doing. Can you all hear me? Yeah, good. Well, you did a moderately good job singing along on that opening song. I'm sure you can do better. I know you can. I know there's some very weary people in this room, but I was at a gathering just last weekend, and I was feeling worn out and beat down, and the only time I broke all weekend was when I started to sing. So maybe that'll work for you too. Ease your tired muscles. Cool your fevered skin. Here's an old gospel song with some new words. I have no desire to stay where lies distort and fears dismay, where many doubts and fortune frowns. Come help me find some higher ground. Oh, lift me up, let me stand upon some decent, honest land. Sweeter soil that I have found. Oh, plant my feet on higher ground. Is the choir ready? Lift me up and let me stand. Lift me up, let me stand my place upon some decent, honest land. Upon some decent, honest land. Sweeter soil than I have found. Than I have found. Oh, plant my feet on higher ground. The way we live will take its toll in broken lives and tortured souls. Open our hearts, turn us around, and guide our feet to higher ground. Lift me up, let me stand. Let me stand on some decent, honest land. soul that I have found, that I have found. Oh, plant my feet, oh, plant my feet on higher ground. See, it's working. It's working. You're sounding stronger, you're feeling better. Sleep, work, and work. Eat, drink, and shop. The crazy treadmill never stops. We're jumping off this merry-go-round. We're gonna walk to higher ground. Lift me up, lift me up. Let me stay on some decent, honest land. Sweeter soul that I have found, that I have found. Open my feet on higher ground. This weary world has had its fill of words of war from every hill. But can you hear that joyful sound? A song of peace from higher ground. Lift me up, let me stand, let me stand on some decent, honest land. Sweeter soul than I have found. Open my feet on higher ground. I was out on the West Coast with a wonderful songwriter, Rick Burkhardt, and we were in San Diego the day that aircraft carrier sailed up and swung around. Airplane came down, landed on the deck. The cockpit opened, and out stepped the president, George W. Bush, and he gave a speech. I don't remember a lot about the speech. I just remember the banner that he stood in front of. What year was that? Help me out. The invasion of Iraq was happening. Any history students? 2003. So 10 years ago, we had the banner mission. And it took Rick 24 hours to write and learn and sing this next song. Once again, we hear the word precision from people who think bombs can be precise. We hear the price of fighting terrorism from people who don't have to pay that price. We see a cloud where there should be a college. We see a reservoir reduced to soil. And though they now admit that the marketplace was hit, they didn't hit the Ministry of Oil. What they call a military target is clear to every soldier, brave and loyal. You can bomb a shrine, you can bomb a power line, but you never bomb the Ministry of Oil. Once again, the mayhem they call warfare is followed by the melee they call peace. Tearing through the stores and the museums, while the U.S. Army played the police. How much do you suppose that artwork sold for, as their last remaining food began to spoil? Ah, the situation's bad, but no place in Baghdad is safer than the ministry of oil. Medicine has all been confiscated, and soon there won't be water left to boil. And one might wonder who'd think up names like oil for food when they only feed the ministry of oil. If there's any logic to the universe, if the future isn't just absurd, if justice is precise instead of infinite, and freedom is enjoyed and not endured, I'll take my class out someday for a field trip past the shell of Shell and Uniroyal. And as they're rolling round the mossy White House grounds, I'll say, kids, this was the ministry of oil. I'll say, kids, it was a peaceful revolution. There wasn't any battle to embroil, and I'm very glad to tell that not one person fell. It's an aspect of our history that every child knows well. Still, we just could not avoid one building being destroyed. But at least it was the ministry of oil. So we got as far as Colfax and our Chicago contingent head-to-head back to Chicago. Mary and Larry and Mike. And Mary was wearing a t-shirt today, one of my favorite sayings. It explains a lot to me as I look at the world and try to figure out why things go wrong so consistently. Her t-shirt was a quote from Dorothy Day, and it said, "Our problems stem from our acceptance of this filthy, rotten system." That I find especially during election years, when we think that people look at the issues and make wise choices and pick the candidate that they think is the best instead of a mere matter of money exchanging hands. And so, no matter how fine a person we might elect, they are walking into and already up to their eyeballs in this filthy, rotten system. One of the things I like about Dorothy's quote is it's really got a nice rhythm to it. And I thought, so well, maybe we could get rooms full of people singing, "Our problems stem from our acceptance of this filthy, rotten system." What do you think? Could you get behind that? Our problems stem from our acceptance of this filthy, rotten system. One last rehearsal. Our problems stem from our acceptance of this filthy, rotten system. Okay. Now, from here on, it gets operatic, okay? And so I want you to sing that line at the end of every verse. And then also during the verses, so that you don't doze off, you repeat the last phrase of each verse. That would be called a refrain. And if you don't repeat it, that's why they would call it a refrain too. So that's the end of each verse. And then at the end of singing "Our problems stem from our acceptance of the filthy, rotten system," I want you to affirm Dorothy and your faith in her observation by giving me a very dramatic "Yo!" Want to rehearse that? Ready? Yo! Good. All right. You want to call those songs in a row? Or do that. That's my 8 years we bravely battled Bush, that smug, self-righteous frat boy on a bender. Boy on a bender. Good. We marched against his endless war. We rallied every race and class and gender. Every gender. Our hearts were new, our states were blue, our aim was true, and yet we always missed him. We always missed him. Do you think our problems stem from our acceptance of this filthy, rotten system? Your heart. Do you think our problems stem from our acceptance of this filthy, rotten system? Yo! We caucus called and canvassed for Barack, raised cash and voter registration. Triumphantly we tuned into the acceptance speech. Inauguration. Joe Biden quelled, he talked so well. And when Obama won, I could have kissed him. I could have kissed him. But don't our problems stem from our acceptance of this filthy, rotten system? Yo! And having vanquished Bush and Darth, we all returned to home and hearth and cable. Return to cable. We thought we'd crash the party. We ain't even sitting at the table. Not at the table. Now corporate flacks and party hacks around Barack are eager to assist him. They will assist him. Do you think our problems stem from our acceptance of this filthy, rotten system? Yo! We work within the system while we visualize a peaceful world ahead. We vote the lesser evil, pay our taxes, raise our children, earn our bread. Our lives replay like Groundhog's Day, and every day we pray will be different. The faces change, the mighty fall, the tables turn, and still and all the same sun salutes, the same old system. Yo, 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 yo. And winners croon the same old tune. Forget the past. Don't waste your time in tears. Don't waste your tears. Oh, and hoping for a better future. There's a laugh. It's been like this for years. It's been for years. Go with the flow, the status quo. Our leaders know it's useless to resist them. You can't resist them. But if our problems stem from our acceptance of this filthy, rotten system, yo, then mourn the dead and fight like hell. When in doubt, resist, rebel. Remember, Rome first rose and fell, and so must every system. Anyone catch that the last verse was based on the prophetic exegesis of Walter Brueggemann? I thought I sent that in. Right around the time that the Patriot Act was passed, a little bit before people had a chance to read it, there was a phenomenon on the internet that played out, as it turns out, in the Arab nations. People were treating Osama bin Laden as a hero, and they were looking for posters that they could carry in processions that had his image on them. So some enterprising printer I'm not really sure where, but somewhere in the Middle East, started rolling out pictures of Osama bin Laden that they had downloaded from the internet, and didn't pay any attention to the fact that over his shoulder was an image Bert the Muppet. It just sort of slipped by the guy. So you have tens of thousands of people marching the streets with Osama bin Laden and Bert the Muppet. And I thought, this is really going to come down very hard in the United States. And so this is a song about the Patriot Act, where I thought it was going to take us back in 2001. We're canceling flights. We're stopping the mail. We're hot to trot on the terrorist trail. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? Bert's been bad and he can't be pardoned. Hanging around Osama bin Laden, an evil puppet master of deceit. But we'll hammer Osama by battering Bert with the Patriot Act. They are gonna get hurt. We'll teach them a tedious lesson by arresting Ernie. See, being best buddies is a criminal sin. If your friend might offend and you don't turn him in, and if you are a friend of Ernie, I'd see an attorney. Sunny day, everything's okay. Somebody's learning his lesson on Sesame Street. That's the sing-along part. Sunny day, everything's okay. Somebody's learning his lesson on Sesame Street. We'll put all the Muppets in endless detention, just a precaution, an ounce of prevention. They're all non-citizens. Christ, they're very human. So Big Bird's been booked for a stretch in the box. Elmo gets tickled till the little guy talks. Richie men going over. Oh, this business is booming. Miss Piggy won't talk, so she's strapped to her gurney. She's got her cell phone. She's dialing up Kermit, but nobody answers. The line goes click, click, click. You see, most of the phones here on Sesame Street are all wiretapped by the Patriot Police. And now there's 13 bugs at the Ladybug's picnic. And it's a sunny day. Everything's okay. Somebody's learning his lesson on Sesame Street. Forget about Bert. Some FBI goon will be marching him off to a secret tribunal where it's 3 against 1 for the hot seat with no appeal. And since PBS has been harboring terror, we're cutting the funds for the news with Jim Lair, trying to find Mr. Rogers. Check the Bastille. We're making a list of each girl and each boy with a Sesame book or a Sesame toy. This program's brought to you by the letters CIA. They don't ask about Kermit. He just disappeared. You see, he was the kingpin, a fraud to be feared. We're compiling a list of his fans now. Have a nice day. Have a sunny day. Everything's okay. Somebody's learning his lesson on Sesame Street. Yes, it's a sunny day. Everything's okay. Somebody's learning his lesson on Sesame Street. Yep. Song out of Ohio. It's about 30 years old. It's written back in the days when if you wanted to play a video game, you had to go up to an arcade. So the language is a little archaic, the concept remains valid. I remember putting pennies on a railroad track and parking my kite between two clouds, but I never saw the world beyond until I met that machine so shiny and slick and shoved my quarter in, put my finger on the button, saw the lights go on and felt my life begin. Since then, every day will roll away about the same, in close communication with the video game. Spent all my resources just fighting those evil forces, and I relived every game I played. I dreamed all night of that little arcade. Sit up in bed and holler, hey Gary, give me change for $1. Every day I swore I was gonna raise my score and leave my initial claims on one of those video games. One of those video games. Now it's understood how I could. I'd be leaning on the glowing machine, scratching my itches on the lights and the switches and the blips on the video screen. And when I saw my mama hang from a third floor ledge, begging for a hand back in, I said I just hit bananas on the Ms. Pac-Man. I gotta go at it again. Me and the janitor's kids, Antoine and Nando, burn up the watts on the old Nintendo. Tell Mom that I'm sorry, blood's thinner than Atari. And then the uniform man said, you got skill. Uncle Sam's going to subsidize your video thrill. Defender of the nation is practical application. From a real leather seat at 30,000 feet. Don't even see the flames. Don't see rivers steam. Hear people scream. Nobody knows their names. It's just one of those video games. They are one of those video games. So part of the antiquity of that song, or the anachronistic quality of it, is that it was written at a time when those planes had pilots sitting in the real leather seats at 13,000 feet. Isn't it strange? Aren't we a pair? One sitting safe on the ground, one in midair. Send in the drone. Never leave home. Never ask why. One rolls a joystick around, one gets to fly. Which is the drone? Send in the drone. Hundreds are dead, thousands are made. Digitized dolls on the screen, no faces, no names. Finish my 4-hour shift, and I find I'm alone, far from the fray, address unknown. Don't give your name, feel no regret. Ask not for whom the bell tolls, fire and forget. Only throne, a deniable throne. No problem, and yet, isn't it strange? Isn't it queer? Terror remotely control a pilot's career. Where are the drones? Why are they drones? Is anyone there? Well, I wrote a song for this walk, and I don't know it, so I go get my lyric sheet. So I just flew into town late Tuesday night and walked Wednesday and Thursday and today, so I only was here for a tiny fraction of the walk. And it's been a real honor to be part of this community. And also, for those of you who haven't been part of the walk, I'm finding it hard to imagine how people have done what they've done in the last 11 days, because I'll tell you, the last 2.5 days have been really brutal, right? Yeah, and they've been doing it for far longer than that. So I really encourage all of us as the evening wears on to hear what Kathy's going to bring to us, when we hear what Luke's got to share with us, that we have a chance to talk with one another and get some sense of what these good people have been thinking about for the last 11 days, walking 8 and 10 hours in the hot sun to get here tonight and present this program to you. I also want to mention that Brian has brought copies of the Catholic Worker. There's also a booklet there called Ground the Drones, which is for donations. So is it a price anyone? Yeah, so you can leave a donation there. Okay. If you could hear it as a transcript of the file on page 14. And Buddy, are there books tonight?
Yeah, there's several other materials outside the table.
Great, so you can't leave without seeing. And also I've got recordings over here in songbooks, and like the books outside, and the creature and any money that you give will be used to support the walk coming around the drones. So I encourage you to do that before you leave as well. So, and I hope you'll sing this with me. The chorus is simple. We say the drones have got to go, got to go, got to go. We say the drones have got to go so the people can live in peace all together. We say the drones have got to go, got to go, got to go. We say the drones have got to go so the people can live in peace. From the arsenal at Rock Island to the National Guard facing the morning, we are taken to the streets for a world at peace, and we're hoping that you will join us singing. We say the drums have got to go, got to go, got to go. We say the drums have got to go so the people can live in peace. Our feet have traveled many a mile, our voices make a mighty fine sound. We're covering the ground, the drums are gonna lift the heart and turn us around. No, we say the drums have got to go, got to go, got to go. We say the drums have got to go so the people can live in peace. They hover over borders of Mexico, they are lurking in the skies of Pakistan. If they want you, they can find you anywhere you go. Don't you think it's time to take a stand? So we say the drums have got to go, got to go, got to go. We say the drums have got to go. Right up to the gates marching around. Joshua commanded the people to shout, and the walls came tumbling down. We say the girls have got to go, got to go, got to go. We say the girls have got to go to the people can. One last time, we say the girls have got to go, got to go, got to go. We say the girls have got to go so the people can live in peace. Thanks very much. This is L group. I think it is.
What's that?
Are you up next? And
Well, we may have to connect to a cable, if that would be okay, via
Absolutely.
Skype, just for a really 5 or 10 minute interlude. We're not sure how cooperative Skype is going to be, but we think we have this connection. So, thanks to Luke and his computer and Hannah.
It's here.
So many of you know these connections are pretty frequent between Hubble and people involved in the Global Days of Listening or
Yeah. There you go.
Hello?
No.
How everything that you carry out while you were here, but we have widespread pollution. We have very damaged infrastructure to care for our children. We have skyrocketing statistics on childhood cancers and birth defects. And this may be related to the use of like phosphorus. It may be related
A team from Hubble and some of the other, it's 4:30 in the morning in Hubble, so we don't want to. Who's speaking? I'm sorry, I'm not sure. If this doesn't work, we'll drop it. Let's just give it one more minute. Luke's being very helpful. What if we go ahead with Luke's nephew, spoken word artist from Brooklyn, New York, and we'll see if we can tune in on this a little bit.
All right. Cool. So hopefully we'll get them a little bit. Thanks again to Charlie. Round of applause for Charlie. Beautiful.
Charlie who?
Charlie Kim. Thank you. And also for Brian. Just can we give it up again for Brian? That's so powerful to hear those words of witness and that powerful music. And I feel really grateful. And like Charlie said, I feel so grateful to be surrounded by everybody here.
Luke, I'm sorry, this is coming through.
Oh, let's. I think if we. All right. So I actually would love to do a really quick. Charlie's had you singing. I should really just come up and do a poem, but I never do that. I never like to just come in with my voice without hearing our collective voice. So I have a really simple one that I think folks will relate to. The words are: time to be honest, You can't blame it on Congress. President Obama made good on your promise. So I wrote that in reference to Guantanamo, actually, not his failure to close the prison. But it unfortunately applies to many things. So the song is very simple, and I'm going to sing it through one time, and you can sing it with me. It goes, time to be honest. You can't blame it on Congress. Oh, President Obama made good on your promise. It's time to be honest. It's time to be honest. Make good on your promise. Make good on your promise. That's the words. Oh, President Obama. Now make good on your promise. Make good on your promise. It's time to be honest. You can't blame it on Congress. Oh, President Obama, make good on your promise. Thank you so much for singing out with me. Let's try this one. When I say people, you say power. People, power. People, power. That's pretty good. Let's do it like we powerful. When I say we are, you say beautiful. We are beautiful. We are beautiful. And when I say life is, you say precious. Life is precious. Life is precious. There you go. I know you can say that like you mean it. Beautiful. So this first poem that I'm gonna do tonight is called "The Peace That Keeps Me Radical." I'll try this. How's the sound in the back? It's good. It's pretty good. You guys okay back there? I'll stay over here. For folks that are not familiar with spoken word, feel free to clap, to ooh, to ah, or just to sit there quietly. But it's also, people often ask, is that true when they hear this particular poem? And I just want you to know that it is an art form of our real lives, our true stories. And so this is all the people in my life who kept me radical and kept me honest and kept me struggling. This is the peace that keeps me radical. Otherwise, I might forget it. Because when you're chilling in New York for a while, you get in that hanging out, just doing you, first world mindset, and so I spit. I spit to take myself back to the broken down shack in the slums outside of Quito, Ecuador, where my cousin Marcelo died from doing crack. I spit to slap me with the fact that every time I pay tax, I help my government murder innocent people in Iraq, and there is nothing liberal or conservative about that. So take me back. Back to West African villages where poverty pillages my boys like Mustafa, who I know are still living in utter desperation. Because these are the people and places that have shaped my political view. Not Fox or CNN, the New York Post, or Daily News, nah. I use reality to keep my politics in order, and if I feel a little moderate, I'll take this trip down the border. Well, over 1,500 of our people have made their graves in the last 3 years. I keep it radical for each of them and all our families' tears, and if it appears that to be radical is too intense for me to fit in, that is all the more reason for me to stand here spitting the peace that keeps me radical. Because it's the same peace being demanded by the prisoners of Guantanamo. It's the peace that Native Americans deserve when they fought alongside Geronimo. This is piece of skin torn from a mother's limb when Lebanon was bombed, and the piece of porcelain that reminds her children of her now that she is gone. This is the piece of Muslim prayer calls and the piece of Christian psalms. It is the piece that keeps me sewn into the fabric of every sweatshop. It is the last piece of bread before the famine stole the whole crop. This is the little piece of genius that my boys keep hidden under hoods, and this piece is to remind me it's not easy to be good, and I should be proactive like families hustling the hood, and always keep it moving, because doing nothing is not peace. Forget slavery for a school. This is my only way to breathe. Because art is more than my relief. My commander-in-chief is a slanderous thief, and I'm standing neck deep in the blood of my peeps, and I can't keep my head above water much longer. I spit to the dead, and I said in their honor, forgive me, and give me the peace to be stronger. And this is what they left. They left this breath in my lungs to be sung. When people are being murdered and poets are silenced by the state, I'll spit this piece to conquer hate. In streets and then courtrooms, I will get in my cell until they throw me in a hole, and covered by their darkness, I will hold this piece of light that I have seen in children's eyes that reminds me why we fight. And from right here, I'll spit the depths of it. My tears cry beside the desolate, and there is no amount of hours and no governmental powers that will sicken me with mediocrity or turn me to a coward, because radical means rebuilding all the peace that they've devoured. And just in case you didn't hear me, let me spit it loud. I want peace from the Bronx to Baghdad to Sierra Leone. Peace to every man, woman, and child without home. I want peace in Bolivia, Mexico, and Ecuador. Peace with our policies and stop keeping my people poor. I want peace on my block between us and the police. I want peace between America and the entire Middle East. I want peace so bad, but I need to want it more. I need to want it more than these weapons companies want war. Look, you will see that in my eyes. They are bloodshot red, because real men are not afraid to cry. I'm not afraid to say that I believe peace is possible, but that is radical, my people. And radical means to the root. If we have the courage to admit it, the root of peace is me and you. Remember, life should not be easy for any, while life is this hard for this many. So if I ever lose my radical point of view, please, just spit this piece to wake me up. And I promise, I'll come back to you.
All right.
Got any of the right amounts back yet?
Well, we went online.
Oh, really? You sure?
Yeah, sometimes.
So, one of the things that has been amazing about the walk is in meeting, like, the people as we go, you know what I mean? And today, one of the women we met yesterday walked with us. Her name was Pauline, and it was a real honor to have her. And when we were saying goodbye, I shared something with her, which was, I lived in West Africa. People, our friends, when we say goodbye, we would say, okay, I'll see you later, we're together. So like, when you part ways, you say we're together. And I think I don't know why, but that just brought tears to her eyes. Right? She was already feeling very emotional, and she said, I'm just so grateful to walk with you. And that happens because this amazing group of people that, here in this room just said, this is what I want to be doing. I want to walk through these towns. I want to make this message heard. And to see with my own eyes that message echo in her heart and harmonize, really, I think is probably better. Something in her that also wants peace and just wants that. That really that moved me so much, and it was so personal. I'd like to do a poem actually that's also a very personal piece about a place I used to live in Ecuador, because it's a story of my life that has a lot to do with also taught a really important lesson that I'd like to share with you. This poem is called Last Wishes. I know a hood where little kids sleep in cribs of rusted metal nailed together. And you're better off dead than in these streets after 9 at night, because this was known for killing. They like your knives, and they use knives and pipes because they don't have money for guns. In this hood, the kids run barefoot through streets of broken glass. They're not afraid of being cut because their future has already been savaged. And in this hood, the cash flows like running water. They don't have running water. What they have is a slaughter they try to heal with a kiss, and they have a heart wrapped tight in their fist, because this is where I became a man, where I ran through the streets and dreamt about being Pele, where I sat beneath the burning sun with my boy Angelito and drank fresh milk from a coconut. This is where I woke up and fell asleep and fell in love. Yeah, I fell in love. And of course, she was from the family of the most feared drug dealers and thugs. Nobody messed with La Familia. I'd say they had run this hood for generations. And for some reason, they liked me. And thank God. Because she was beautiful like butterflies, and she untied the knots in my stomach so I could inhale wishes. She sang to me in kisses. She was the type of woman who would kiss you when you didn't even look at her. Boom. And she stayed doing that, especially when a bus full of people rolled by. So it wasn't long before the whole hood knew that I was hers and she was mine, and that was fine with me, because around the same time, one of my boys was stabbed almost to death, and she found a way to nurture that little bit of hope that I had left. Despite her family's history, she was the sweetest mystery, just trying to make the world a better place. And she was starting with me, and it was working. And so I cut the process short and bounced back to New York, leaving my butterfly behind in this hood where violent crime was like sugar in their black coffee. They always put too much. I figured, forget it, such is life, and poverty and honesty. Pain is what is normal, peace is anomaly. I finally got jacked up, and I was the one robbing me. Stealing me from her from me, and when I left, she gave me a book called Marianela. It was about love and a rose. I gave her a love poem and a picture of her guitar. For years I thought about her every time the clock said 11:11, or I saw a shooting star, because the wishes from her kisses, they were still inside of me. But she was still in that hood. That hood where cabs won't even take you during the daytime. That hood where if a kid breaks his leg, that leg stays broken, and if someone yells, call the police, it's a guarantee that they are joking. Because in this hood, the cops are the robbers and the grandmas are the fathers, because the fathers never bother to do anything but holler at their teenage baby mamas selling crack and marijuana on blocks hotter than a sauna, with more illegal traffic than the streets of Tijuana, and I didn't want to think about it. That is where she stayed. Till the day, about 3 years ago, they called me up and told me my butterfly had been killed. And I went back, and I stood next to her graveside in the north of Quito, held her sister in my arms, and we cried. And I thought, why bother? Why bother trying to make this world a better place in a world like this that cuts down flowers like her? But I swear to you, that day I started to get it. As I left the cemetery in the north of Quito, I started to understand that no matter how bad this gets, no matter how many bombs they drop or cops they pardon, some things cannot be stopped once they've started. Not by war, not by hate, not by bullets, because I said before but never really understood it, but I do now here, because what I feel is butterflies, because love never dies. My bed is with me when I stand up and try to speak truth. She's with me when I offer my hand. She's with me when I wrap my arms around my brothers who need it. She's with me when I walk these streets and demand peace. She is with me. She is with you. Our loved ones are with us. Our ancestors are with us. Pakistanis, Afghanis, Iraqis, people from every country are with us as we walk, as we hug, as we love. Real love never, ever dies. Thank you. What else? How do you do that? You can say my feet hurt. You can say I'm looking for honesty. Thank you, James. Alright, exactly. What else? How are we feeling? This, I guess I'm used to spaces. When I do what I'm doing now and sharing this with you, I love to hear your voice too and know kind of how you feel tonight. Listening to Brian, listening to Charlie, and just being here. How do folks feel? Boo. Alright. Boo. 2 strikes. Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you, Dad. You know, I really feel it. I'll take it. It's all about keeping it real. It's all about that. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. How you doing?
Pretty tired.
Pretty tired? Sorry, how you doing?
I'm tired too, but I'm doing really good. You're doing really good.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
I like that you use the word radical. It sounds very honorable.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. I always think about that. The definition really radical does mean the root. You know, I was. Thank you for saying that. What's your name?
Deb.
Deborah. How you? Sir, what's your name?
You're just saying everything that I've been feeling for years.
Wow.
He's a songwriter.
Well, hold on a minute. Amateur journalist, investigator, also.
Great. What's your name?
Wayne.
Wayne. Oh, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Deborah Wayne. Good to have you guys here. Beautiful. Thanks. I feel a little more comfortable now. I know how I'm supposed to do it. I'd like to do it. Some folks actually were really connected with the poem I did about my mom the other night. I think I'd like to share that poem again. Yeah, great. There we go. Today I thought a lot about something that Lee and I spoke about the other night, which was she said something she learned a long time ago is that everybody loves their kids. Right? Everybody everywhere loves their kids. You know? And it's such a humanizing thing, and that's our struggle. Those of us who are on this walk, those of us who do this work for years, like mentors like these folks, you know, Brian Cassidy, many of you all, you know, done this for years. You know, Jules said he's been walking, he's just walking, keeping it going. Even a lot of people that have done this for years, mentors of mine, you know, we do this to humanize, to be human, ourselves and others, and that fact is really humanizing. And there's not much more humanizing than a mama and her love. So this is professional mama. This is my mother's favorite story. When I was 5 years old, my uncle asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I took a second, thought about it, and said, I want to be a mom. And he laughed at me. Didn't think I understood what he was asking me, but I did. Because even while other kids wanted to be ballers and doctors, I never saw any of those guys pick me up from school to make me pot roast or pasta. Meanwhile, my mother was to me what Haile Selassie is to Rastas. Made more change in my life than everybody and Obama. She was my Alleluia and Hosanna. So this is for my mom. You probably didn't notice you were teaching me to protest, but you were. You gave me the fearlessness that's followed me from Palestine to Albany with fistfuls of humility to treat this tech with fragility. The free song that's filling me is the lullaby you used to sing to me, that taught me. Nobody should have to live through nightmares. My lesson has become the root of my profession. So tonight I'm celebrating all the women who taught us to fight for human rights, articulating Article 1 by welcoming us into this life. You see, my mother is the personification of the ideal United Nations. Actually loves every woman with equal dignity and patience. Which is why I'm so passionate about Article 2, freedom from discrimination. See, my mama had love like the sun had light, so I had Article 25, food and a place to sleep at night. And I was always that kid breaking up fights. Because compassion taught me freedom from persecution. She is why I don't believe in executions. And her encouragement for the way that I write is the way she chose to cite Article 27 that says, art and culture is a human right. Thank you. Because now my job is bringing poetry to war zones from Haiti to Juarez to Beirut to Brooklyn, where our people are overflowing in prisons full of hurt. My mother just went back to school to study social, exercising her right to education. She is my universal declaration. And the only reason I studied politics and economics is because they didn't have a degree in motherhood. But they should. And there should be required courses for everybody in the armed forces that teach no mother's child should be tortured, so close those secret prisons now. And no mother's child should go hungry, so we want international debt relief now. We all need to keep it. A lot more moms and our government's dropping bombs. Get out in these streets like any mother would if you threaten her child's peace. I still want to be a mommy, so tell the government not to draft me, because I have kids who are both American and Iraqi. You best believe that a mother loves a child, no matter where he's born. That's why I am demanding immigration reform, telling Obama and Congress we want legalization now. This is the only way I know how to say thank you to my mother. I am the child that you fostered like care in the form of wisdom shared, and just by being there, I'd be rich if I had a dime for every time you told me to cut my hair. But in savings I am poor. I would send my money back to Ecuador so there could be just a little more food on the plates where hunger often waits. Taught me never hesitate to give, so this is how I live. If my income can become bread, it will. But still, when it comes to love, I can never fill your shoes. But every step that I take will be to prove you taught me well. Mama, I know it's hard when I go away sometimes. I know you miss your baby, and you worry about my safety. But remember, I only do what I do because when I grow up, I want to be like you. Can we all just sing together a really simple one? It goes, it just says, justice, my people want justice. And let's do it. Think about all of our people. All people. All people want justice. Right? All people want to live. Right? Let's sing it like that. I believe that singing is about intention. Right? So you can feel it. It's like prayer, right? Or other things like that. It's like a hug. Right? You know, sing like we're hugging our people. Right? Think about people just for a second in this room as we do this. And just say, justice, my people want justice. And think about justice is living in peace, right? Justice is not having a bomb dropped on you, not having, a night raid on your home. Justice is being able to tell your government they're breaking international law and not end up in prison for 6 months. Justice is peace. Listen, this goes. Justice, my people want justice. 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 One more time, nice and loud. Justice. path of justice, it is the same with dogs. So grateful for each of you. Thanks for being here together.
It's on.
From Iowa, and hello?
Hello?
Kathy, great, so we got Kathy and now we lost Keem again.
Well, with me, you have a group of people who listen to these wonderful songs from Charlie King and from Luke Nephew, and a presentation from Brian Terrell. So we'd love if there's a chance to connect with Pablo, but we'll certainly understand if we missed our time.
We should have Keem back now, Hakeem? Yes. Oh, it's great to hear you. So we have Kathy on the call again with the group in Iowa. So great. Kathy, you want to talk a little more about what you've been doing?
Well, we started our day getting a chance to talk with some of the people on this call. Thank you very much. People walked 15 miles and gathered together for some good presentation and so on. We just want to get an update from you. We're a group of about 3 people who are very eager to hear from you. How are things going? How are you doing? And we're a group of people who will be heading next toward Des Moines, the Air National Guard, where the 132nd Air Attack Wing will be installing weaponized drones in due time. And so we'll be pleased to bring messages you might have for us.
Thank you, Kathy, and everyone else on the call. Sometimes in the midst of all that the peace volunteers are going through, I wish we could transport all of them to go for a walk in Iowa or to meet all of you in various places and conferences elsewhere. And I think that's the feeling some of us have of wanting a different world, wanting a better sort of world or community. We are very grateful that all of you are working there, and we are fine here. I think things are calm on the local community level within Afghan peace volunteers. They are working through their personal challenges of staying together as a community, a multi-ethnic community. They've had many problems over the past year, and I think in general these are helping them to clarify for each of them as well as for their own community what it means to interact and live together non-violently and on a very practical day-to-day level. We wish we were there with you to walk and get out there, but in Kabul, as some of you would know, the city is really polluted. Things are getting a little more and more uncertain.
I wonder, would anyone here want to ask a question or offer a comment?
I wonder who's in the room with Hakeem.
Everybody else is sleeping. Well, it's 5:13. Some of the youth had gotten up for their morning prayers, but very quickly slipped back into the dream world. And it's bright already because it's the long summer days are here. Thank you, Buddy, for asking that. I think the rest will probably wake up in the next hour or so.
And what's happened with all the broken glass? Were you able to dispose of it?
Yeah, we spent a day collecting and disposing the glass, and the owners of the house that we are in have replaced the broken window panes. Yeah, the youth were joking about how the glass or window panes sellers had making good money in the past week.
Could you tell briefly what happened? Not everyone here knows what happened.
Almost daily now, across the country, we've had reports of increasing violence, and violence which has resulted in a 24% increase in the number of civilian casualties in the first 6 months of this year compared to last year. And this particular bomb explosion was just another one of the many incidents. It has been said about this particular incident that it could be a political rivalry.
Oops.
Now positioning themselves for power in the next year's elections. The official line in the news media is an attack on one of the Hazara warlords and leaders in the Afghan parliament called Mahik. But there is also talk, certainly from within the parliament, and one of our volunteers, Mehdi, is working as an advisor within the parliament, has spoken of how within the parliament has talked about Mahik himself setting this up, or other government officials from the Karzai government setting this up to set part of the stage setting for the power struggles.
How are you and the Afghan Peace Volunteers feeling about all of this?
Confused, little worried certainly about what may or may not happen. Each of them reflecting and expressing their individual mixed up fears. I think it does affect the interactions that they have with one another and with the rest of Afghan society. And certainly the ladies, they've always been very stressed, but with this incident, it has brought back many memories, and they have been crying in the room here, in the synthesis room. So I do sense that overall the feelings are mixed up and intense.
Kathy, maybe you could share a little bit about one thing we talked about today in the Global Days of Listening is the responsibility of the Afghan Peace Volunteers friends here in the U.S. Helped by dealing with our policy. So can you talk a little bit about why you're on the walk and what you've been doing, where you've been demonstrating?
Well, I do that earlier. We just have one more question, though, if it's okay.
Sorry.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just going to say, first of all, greetings from Iowa, all the way across the big ocean. Amazing what do you feel about the possibility of the United States having direct talks with the Taliban?
Thank you for that question. I think your first mention of technology and going across the oceans, I just want to pick up a certain thought that I heard this group of friends talking about this morning. There is a general awakening globally. People are waking up, literally. And I am with all of you in dreaming or envisioning that will result in some kind of a global popular mass action, and technology needs to be used for that. We have used technology to destroy ourselves many times over, and I can't wait for the day when we will be able to use this technology to make those wide-scale relationships and connections for a mass popular action, where people will come around one particular issue and say, we as a human race need to deal with this, and we need to stand together. But your question about negotiations with the Taliban, I don't think, I think that's what the mass popular movements everywhere are trying to address, that negotiations that happen between political groups and among powers are not negotiations which are meant for the interest of the people. And I don't think the US negotiations with the Taliban are meant for the interest of Afghans or for the interest of Americans. So I am not hopeful on that. Now that's entirely because peace builders would very clearly say that people need to talk. But that's it. People need to talk. People need to talk to people.
Connection's breaking up.
Hakeem?
Yes.
Oh, great, you're still with us. And Kathy, are you also with us?
Yes, we are, thank you. We just lost the sentence after people need to talk to people.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, yes.
What I said was that peace builders are, I think, very clear about wanting to use negotiation and conversations to build peace. But I think that's where we need to be clear. That people need to talk to people, not a few self-interested politicians talking to a few self-interested politicians, like the US and
Can I tell him that I'm live streaming this? Can I tell him that I'm live streaming this?
Oh, yeah, Hakeem, this is being live streamed, we just wanted to know. Thank you. Errol, thanks for asking about the walk, and I think maybe that's a good segue into letting some weary walkers begin to say goodbye to one another for a time, but we do encounter quite a few people who say, what's your name? And we have a chance to do some basic outreach, but many of us today, I think, felt that what we were about was just so beautifully represented in a woman who gave us hospitality last night. She knew nothing about us, nothing about room, nothing about the peace movement, but she opened her heart and her home and her extensive backyard and her kitchen to us. And, we're not the easiest group to accommodate. The next thing we knew, she had her walking shoes on this morning, and she walked with us for the whole day. So building friendships person to person, having confidence in that belief that we really are all part of one another, that North Island can change the world, that we Thank you very, very much. Anyone else want to say a word of encouragement or regard?
From one Muslim to another, Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Diane Lopez,
Thank you so
our
much.
hearts
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, we love you. Keep up the good work.
That's a great connection.
Thank you.
So there are smiles on faces here.
And Kathy, but Shaima is going to be with us to brainstorm about actions, and this would be, a place where she would be so thankful to hear your comments about working together. When we talked, we were talking about Brazil, what's happening there, and in so many other countries. And I wondered if, while you still have the group there at Duke, if we might go back to a letter that Hakeem wrote, a love letter from Afghanistan. How do we, the people of the world, come to this unsustainable crisis of our hearts and minds? And then a sentence: we are resolved to ask for the urgent establishment of an independent, non-political body of peace representatives appointed by the people to build wide-scale conciliatory relations so that we may know each other again, and to end all wars and occupations so we can breathe again. So that's Hakeem.
And yeah, and thanks to the group in Iowa. And I was wondering, maybe Hakeem, if you would like to talk a little more about this letter and what you mean, and what you mean by when you say we come together not as a cause or an organization, but as ordinary people.
Well, yesterday I was looking at a few pictures coming from Turkey. Again, we have the social media age of Facebook and Twitter and all that's flying over my head. I have enough to deal with in daily, real person-to-person relationships. But these young people show me some pictures, and I also get news through the internet. And there is a picture of a standing man. I wonder if some of you have seen that. It has gone viral in Turkey.
I've seen it.
And this man is an artist, a Turkish artist. And he decided that he would do his own part in standing up to the powers in Turkey by standing silently for 8 hours. And then around him, people began to stand. And so the pictures are just a very powerful description of how we, I think, all wish for each and every ordinary person to say, enough, this is not working. We are going to take our individual stand and as well as community stand. We can do this non-violently. We can talk about a human right to stand, make a stand. We so desperately need it. And if we could do that on wider scales like all of you are doing, in groups of 30, 40, walking, standing, sitting in, lying in, which you have all taught us about through the years. And all these actions coming together over very pertinent, important issues that all of us have in the world. I can't wait for that day. I'm hoping that that happens somehow. Maybe it will happen from a country to country level, like what's been happening in Turkey, in Brazil, and across the Arab world. But maybe it will also happen eventually across countries, across borders. And that's what I think we have been trying to describe in the love letter and in many of our writings of coming together as ordinary people.
Well, Doug, Hakeem, Ariel, and people that are on the call, I hope you'll hear our thanks here in Iowa. And we have another early morning ahead of us. We're not quite through with our walking, so I think people may be ready to move on to various households. And thank you very, very much for including us in our discussions today. We look forward to staying in touch. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, Takakur.
Thank you all. Just before you leave, I thought maybe I'll give you a link to the picture of the standing man. It's a very long link, but welcome to technology. Google.com something.
Yeah. I think if you just Google standing man, you might see it.
Okay, we'll send an email to Kathy and yes, thank you. And Andrea, if you stay on maybe for a second. Sure. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you all.
Good night. So Hakeem John.
Yeah. How do you top that?
Yes, please. Well, I don't want to top it, but I want to take you back to 1987. I walked the walk in Russia in 1987 from Leningrad to Moscow. And we succeeded. We didn't know we were succeeding. You know, that's not the way it happens. But we succeeded. That's because we came together. And then we didn't have all this technology. So we will succeed.
Well, I have to also say a word thanks to our host for being on. So, Ryan, do you have any words for us for tomorrow? Ryan, should I say? Buddy, sorry.
You're renaming him.
As Jules said, I have the books on business. So today we ended in Mitchellville. So if any of you folks from Des Moines want to join us tomorrow, we're starting from the park in Mitchellville and going along back roads. I think it's 58th and 54th all the way to Altoona, and then we're coming down Hubble. And so anytime that you want to join our walk, you're welcome to call the walk phone, which is my cell phone. And if you go upstairs and see the table with the resources, there's a little orange quarter sheet which has that cell phone on it. And I just wanted to let people know where they're staying, because that's starting, it's a little bit of it was like a half-hour drive from here, so, and we're all starting from different places. I think we should, tomorrow is a shorter day with 15 and a half miles, because I counted it out. And so,
we can start at 8:30, I think. Or should we do 8? So we have a few different people who are hosting us, and one's Jeff, and is it your brother?
Yeah, this is Daniel.
Daniel. Okay, so with Daniel, we're going to put Diane, Maya, and Phil goes with that group too, but you'll get a ride to the Greyhound. And also Kathy, so you could all take Diane's car or Daniel's car. And then Phil, do you have a car here?
Or no, I have it. Yeah.
Jeffrey, sorry.
You want several miles.
You're renaming people.
You walk 100. I don't, but I can.
Jane.
Oh, Jane?
Yeah.
Do you just said, so do you have space for how many? 4. Okay, do you have any pets?
Oh, you mean you're coming to my house?
Oh, okay.
But if they got any, they want to sleep on the floor. Sorry, my bedroom been
What would you take a ride, Jeff, and I was going to put James, you could go with Jeff because he has no pets. And then the rest of us, Jules, you're going with Brian. And then there's 8 of us left, I think. So Libby, Charlie, Luke, and myself will go to our friend Justin Norman's house. Oh, you're going with Elton? Okay. So then the other 3, Libby, Luke, and myself will go to Justin's house. And Linda, you could also come with us too. Or you may have to go to the Friends Meeting House with Aaron, Irene, and Bob. Because at the Friends Meeting House, there's no beds. It'll just be, you have to have your mat. And at Justin's, there's 3 couches and 1 person to sleep on the floor, which can be me.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, so 1 person for each of you? Is that fine? Okay. So how about if Libby and Linda, do you want to go with her? And what's your name, ma'am? Patty, thank you. What's your name, sir? Rob? Luke, are you okay with going with Rob? Is Luke here? Okay. So, Bob? You want to go with Rob? Okay. So did I miss anyone? Brian's going to his house. Yeah. And you're helping drive Jeff and James.
Yeah, James.
Yeah.
Where am I going?
Aaron, you're going to the Friends Meeting House because you know where it is. Okay.
How am I getting there?
With Irene, that's right.
Oh. Aaron, do you have the keys to this? Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Just go to my house.
Aaron made changes plan.
Yeah, there's only two of us. So Aaron and Irene, you're not going to the first half. I think we'll go to the
Catholic Worker House.
yeah, just two of us. Okay. We have to figure out how to get. We have to all get to Mitchell tomorrow. That's yeah.
And there was one other question. If someone wants to walk with us or join, will we take them back to their car? And I thought the answer was yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I will not be able to do it. I got other things to do, so I can't join this walk. But on a Sunday afternoon, I will join the action at the Capitol, which will start at 10 o'clock here in Des Moines. And from the Capitol, we will walk to the guard base at the Des Moines Airport. So this is my third trip there in the past 3 months. And so this is the process of inviting walkers to their house.
If you're not coming to Lemoyne tomorrow, then I won't get to see you anymore. So and also, there are books out here, there are recordings down there.
How do you like my Aaron?
Well, we live at the Catholic Workers. All right, you're coming with me. Excellent. No pets? No. We have a big bed for you, and you have privacy.
I think this is going to be breaking up, so I might be cutting this off. I'm over 2 hours already. But thank you for watching, and if you'd like to help me cover the cost of live streaming and broadcasting, I would certainly appreciate any little bit of help. I do live on a fixed income because I am not eligible to get any kind of work in the country that I've lived in all of my life. But I need to maintain my equipment, keep and pay my internet bills. So I'm just asking for a little portion to cover the cost of my live streaming and broadcasting. So if you go to my WePay account, which is www.wePay.com/donations/occupier Kaylyn livestream, and Kaylyn is spelled Kaylyn. Again, that's www.wePay.com/donations/occupier Kaylyn livestream. And I thank you for watching, and I will go ahead and get this up now before my tablet runs dry. I've never taken it this long before, but so I think there'll just be a little bit of socializing before I get out of here. Thanks for watching. See you on the streams.